Hey everyone, I'm Charting Man Dan with the Chart Guys. I've been trading crypto since May 2017, trading markets a good bit before that. And today we're going to check in on Bitcoin as the bulls are finally showing us some life. We've got some interesting relationships that we have with the broader market and the dollar, which have certainly been seeing a good bit of volatility ever since the FOMC last week. There's a couple tightening ranges on altcoins that we're going to check in on, and the bulls need to see those names follow suit. Essentially what we have right now is Bitcoin showing strength and leading the way, relative strength comparative to the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, ignoring the dollar strength. And now we want to see profits rotate around. We want to see Bitcoin stay strong, maybe trade sideways for a bit. While it trades sideways, have laggard altcoins make their bull break. So we'll look at a couple of those names as well, and then we'll check in here on what you all are looking at and take any questions and things like that. Appreciate the likes and the shares as always. It's Thursday, September 28th, 2 p.m. Eastern. So Bitcoin, the clarity for me is on the 2-day time frame, and just nice and smooth there where we have our low, the high of the move last time around. We never confirmed a daily uptrend as far as I'm concerned. We went straight from the low to the high, so we pulled back fairly significantly, established a new support level, and this is the bulls attempting to confirm a 2-day uptrend. When's the last time we confirmed a clear 2-day uptrend? It's been a while. You know, you could make the argument sometime back in here there was a little bit of one, but this one's more important for me just because it's nice and drawn out. It's taking its time to establish. And so if the bulls can get over 27.5, 28.2 is the next most important level. But even just getting over 27.5, we could say now we're at the highest level that we've seen in the last month or so, which is always a good thing. That said, if we reject from 27.5, it's entirely possible that this becomes a 2-day equilibrium, and that tightens up, through the first week of October. So bulls want to stay within striking distance because we just tested resistance right now, but we're a bit extended. We're still testing it. A bit extended in the sense that the hourly RSI is up at 80, the 4-hour RSI is hitting 70, and just a little extended. It's currently an hourly stair-step pattern, which means it's a higher low every single candle. And on that note, Joey is going to be doing a webinar today on part of it, stair-step patterns and how to utilize them. And so that's at 5 p.m. Eastern. I'll post a link in the comments of this YouTube video to sign up for that free webinar. But again, one you definitely want to check out. So if Bitcoin breaks the hourly stair-step pattern and pulls back, we're going to look for an hourly high or low as the most likely scenario. We want to start seeing the characteristics of a bull market, which are first 5-minute oversold conditions, marking an hourly high or low into continuation. I mean, that would be best case scenario. Fail 27.5 here, see first 5-minute oversold, mark the high or low, and then we break 27.5. That would be bull market 101 as far as how it plays out. And so, watching closely, short-term uptrends, but knowing that hourly consolidation will be inevitable here. So battle for 27.5. If we're going to see a tightening 2-day equilibrium, we would need to pull back. And I would say, if we get back half of the move from today, from the low of yesterday, then we're going to start looking for the equilibrium. But another characteristic of bulls taking over here is we had this 4-hour time frame from yesterday. And the most likely scenario here is a 4-hour equilibrium. And bulls negated that on high volume, which again is another little characteristic of bulls starting to take over a bit. So what has happened since the FOMC is essentially if I put my mindset in a bear, and if I'm a bear, if you're going to go after the support of 25,000 that everybody knows is the support level right now, the last week was the time to do it. You had the NASDAQ dropping 5% since the FOMC in 6 days. It's bouncing today, but that's a big pullback. And so we had the broader market dropping, and we had the dollar taking off to the upside. The dollar the last 5-6 days since the FOMC straight up. And so you look at the metals, and a few days ago we could say the metals are holding up well compared to the dollar strength, and we had this tightening range. And then gold just completely rolled over, and the last 3 days, it's some of the most beat up that I can ever remember seeing gold. And so essentially, again, my point is, if there were ever a time for the bears to attack 25,000, it would have been over the last week, and they just didn't do it. So now, then my question was, okay, we could say bulls are playing defense, bulls are holding well while we're seeing these other aspects of the market that could easily be leading to downward pressure in Bitcoin. So now do the Bitcoin bulls go on offense when the broader market bounces? And the answer today is yes, that is what's happening. You know, the NASDAQ is seeing its first convincing bounce today since the FOMC, and really the first convincing bounce in 2 weeks. And that is a lot to do, in my opinion, with these Bitcoin bulls showing up with volume and having a really good day today. So the relationship with the broader market, you know, we can't look at things and say there's a tick for tick relationship, a correlation with the NASDAQ or an inverse correlation with the dollar. But it's, for me, it's zoomed out and it's more of a bigger picture overview. And again, just that was a time for bears to take out 25,000 or at least make an attempt. And they didn't even really show up much at all. So that's a good sign. But it still depends on 27.5. And it is still a potential weekly head and shoulders. We're not going to forget that's a possibility. But again, there are definitely some positives in the market, in the crypto sector right now. And then you have these other names like Link. We know Link has been leading the way over the last couple of weeks. And Link, honestly, I always say find long-term tightening ranges and watch for them to break. And the most recent example is uranium stock, CCJ, gave us a year-long equilibrium that we were watching forever. And then it broke bull with significant follow-through. And so you look at Link, and you can say, yeah, Link's having a great few weeks. Absolutely, it's standing out. But you look at this monthly, and it just, you can't get tighter than this. This is a year and 3 months. So 15 months of just tightening up. And every bull move has been a lower high. We topped out at 951, 948, 880, and then 844. And so here we are with a monthly higher low trying to form. And if these bulls can get over this resistance zone, we're going to be looking for some follow through. It's just nice and tight. And again, whenever I see a range like this that's this tight, I just imagine shaking up a soda can. Get your mind out of the gutter. Shaking up a soda can and popping it. And then you get that price action and volume to follow through with it. So definitely keep an eye on Link. If I don't have a long position on Link, what I want to see happen is fail 844 and give me one more chance for a higher low long. So fail 844 and look for a pullback for a weekly higher low, anything above 573, and then break it all bull. That would just be, you know, if I don't have a position, ideal scenario. And we are a bit extended heading into that resistance. You know, if we were to head straight up into that resistance from here, the daily RSI is going to be at historical recent pullback zones. Look at that 19-month period or 15-month period. The RSI here has topped out 72, just under 70, just under 70, 72, 74. And so we're standing right now in this moment at 71. And so if we were going to go up a bit more to get to 844 resistance, we're going to be at recent historical pullback levels. So let's keep an eye on that key 844 level on Link and how it goes from there. But again, definitely watching Link because Link BTC is showing us that relative strength. And Link BTC just confirmed a weekly uptrend. When's the last time Link BTC had a weekly uptrend? This is the first time all year. Other names that we're keeping an eye on, ETH, of course. ETH, similar to Bitcoin, is testing resistance now. 1669 is currently a triple top. We're testing it. We are extended here as well. But we've got space for an hourly higher low, a 4-hour higher low. And what's standing out on ETH recently is a little bit of relative strength. If you look at ETH BTC, it's been stronger than Bitcoin over the last week. And we've been watching this potential weekly falling wedge for a long time. And the fact that we dropped to a lower low straight into this bounce tells me, yep, keep an eye on this falling wedge. It could continue to shape up for another 2+ months, but it is still definitely valid with how it is currently playing out. So that's going to be something we're going to be keeping an eye on. Bigger picture into the end of this year. But at this point, it's just recent short-term relative strength. Rune is another one. 2-day time frame is where I have the clarity for Rune. And shout out to Trend, chart guys member who's been on top of it. He was playing this falling wedge for a long and just took profit into resistance. Because again, same thing, we're extended into clear resistance. Everybody is watching that resistance between 199 and 203. And we're testing it with 4-hour RSI overbought. The hourly RSI was up almost at 90. Definitely a decent time to be taking profit if you're that extended into resistance. So again, same thing as Bitcoin. If we reject, we're going to look for a tightening range, but the bulls have a clear 2-day uptrend for the last month. And that's going to be our guide. Anything above 165 keeps the bulls in control, bigger picture. And again, just tightening up here. And the potential, if we see another leg up, we're then going to be hitting the highest levels that we've seen in over a year. And the next level is 315 from there. We also had the bull cross, weekly EMA 12 over 26 bull cross a couple weeks ago after being bearish for so long. So again, as I mentioned, if this move is for real for crypto and for Bitcoin, and if, we're going to see bulls take back over for a bit, we need to see the profits rotating around, and we need to see confidence, not just in Bitcoin, but in everything. So we know Mana has been the bearish of the bears, just extremely weak overall and can't find a low to save its life. It's been a lead bear. But look at the last 2.5 weeks, 2 weeks, just straight up sideways. And there's a notable volume candle on Binance this week. Volume oftentimes precedes price, but you can't get much tighter than this. And if the bulls are going to continue gaining confidence, we need to see Mana break over 304 and get to the highest level in over a month, and have the weakest names participating as well. So keep an eye on Mana. If I don't have a position on Mana right now and I want one, I want to see a rejection from 302, and I want to look for an entry on a 4-hour high or low. I want to put my stop under daily support, and I want to see the bulls follow through there. And an example, we know Ape. Ape, same thing. The weakest of the weak. One of the weakest altcoins out there. And look at what it did. It traded sideways in a really tight range, and today it's our lead bull with a volume spike and a bull break to the highest level in multiple weeks. So even if you think these names are junk and they're going to zero in the long term, whatever, you want to see confidence in the crypto sector. You want to see a lot of big green numbers and profits rotating around and patterns breaking bullish and volume. And so there's definitely a spark today. And the question from here, how does Bitcoin respond to 25.7 and 28.2? And I keep saying it, but Bitcoin, bigger picture, really wants to see another leg up towards 40,000. And the reason for that is because these bulls need to negate that this is a bear flag. And right now, this is a 3-month bear flag. Until the bulls prove to me that it is not, it remains a bear flag. Do I think it's the most likely scenario? I don't. Maybe that's a little bit of bias involved as well, because it fits the criteria of a bear flag. But we need to see a move up. Again, I just keep going back to 2017 where we had the same, big dump, but to get the tightening equilibrium that eventually broke bull, the retracement here from the lows was sufficient. The retracement was 65%. And so again, if that were going to be the same thing for a long-term tightening range, 65% retracement, Bitcoin needs another 50% from here. I mean, we need 50,000 for 65% retracement. That's almost a 100% move. We need another 80%. How could that play out? Well, if we get a positive ETF headline, that's definitely going to have some bullish implications. Everybody's going to be talking about the halving narrative. If the halving narrative in an ETF can pop us up to 50,000, that's a great sign for creating space off the low. I will still be watching for the possibility of a long, drawn-out equilibrium that takes years, just like 2017 to 2020 did. But again, if it's going to be the same thing as back there, no matter which way you cut it, we need another leg up, at least to 40,000. So, prove it, bulls. Time to take back over and try and negate this head and shoulders. But it's one step at a time. It's going to take a while, and it's just encouraging to at least have relative strength. When's the last time we looked at NASDAQ? You know, Bitcoin divided by NASDAQ relative strength. It's been weaker for a long time. That's changed over the last couple of weeks. We were weaker than the NASDAQ, aside from 1 week mixed in there, pretty much for 5 months. And the last 3 weeks, it's changing. We can say, simple statement, the last 3 weeks has been the most consistent relative strength between Bitcoin and the broader stock market since April. So that's a good sign. Keep proving it, Bulls. You're off to a good start, but more is definitely needed. That's the mindset that I am in crypto right now. All right, reading the chat room. Appreciate you all tuning in. 44 likes. Not fantastic, but let's get that up to 69 by the end of the stream. If a chart is a tightening range, do they mostly break bull? No, we cannot make that assumption. Is there a rule of probabilities? Yes, we look to prevailing trends. So if something's in a monthly and weekly uptrend and we form a sideways tightening daily range, the bulls have favor of the prolonged trends. So it's longer term time frame trends help us determine probabilities. If we know an hourly lower high is the most likely scenario, we're in a daily and hourly downtrend and we bounce up and we're watching for an hourly lower high. And then we form a 5-minute equilibrium after a couple hours of bounce. We scout for it to break bear to indicate that the hourly lower high has been set because we know the hourly lower high is the most likely scenario. Let's check in on the crypto stocks. Good point. So the crypto stocks obviously having one of their better days in the past couple of weeks. Still tons of work to do there. I mean, it's just been a slow bleed for a few weeks here. And essentially, you know, these crypto stocks were doing what Bitcoin bears would have hoped that Bitcoin was doing. These crypto stocks were responding very negatively to the broader market weakness and dropping to the lowest levels that we've seen in the last couple of months. And so right now we got the daily bounce going, but you know, if this is going to be a significant turnaround, we need multiple days of bounce. We need a couple days of pullback. We need a confirmed daily uptrend. So it's enough to put in a bottom, which is a good sign. MARA and Riot, you know, we're putting in a bottom, but we need to see a lot of follow through. And if we look at Riot divided by MARA, it shows us that Riot has been stronger than MARA, and we're going to continue watching this. Today MARA is stronger, but let's keep an eye on how this tightening range breaks, because if this breaks bull, it tells me Riot is the better bull play, and if it breaks bear, it tells me MARA is the better bull play. So again, just like we look at ETH BTC for clues, who's stronger? Is there relative strength or weakness? We can do that with stocks as well. And checking in on coin, daily bounce underway. And we are in a weekly downtrend, but we're looking for a monthly high or low. But no real insight for me in the crypto stocks. You know, they're going up. The broader market's going up. Bitcoin's going up. It's not surprising. We got 69 likes. Perfect. Now nobody's going to press like. So I'm looking for the dollar to be a potential temporary top. Yesterday was very climaxy, just in the sense that everything was all RSI levels were overextended. And again, you go back, I love historical RSI levels. The two main uses of RSI for me, you know, back burners, I love those. Uranium names, hourly, first oversold conditions yesterday, straight up to higher highs. URA, the uranium ETF, plus 7%. From first hourly oversold conditions. Beautiful follow through. So I love it for back burners. The number 2 reason I love our RSI is historical levels. So if I look at the dollar and I say, okay, the dollar's daily RSI is 77. Let's take a trip through time. Where has the dollar been topping out for the last 5 years? Well, here we go, 78. Here's one at 73. Nope, 80. So 78, 80. It's hard to pinpoint here when I'm so zoomed out. So we got 78, we got 80, 79, 79. You get the point. 78. So we can say that in the last 7 years, when the daily RSI on the dollar has gotten between 77 and 80, we have topped out every single time. And so we look at yesterday and say, well, here's the daily RSI up at 77. We know a pullback is coming sooner rather than later in terms of probability. And so we top out today. And so now we're watching for, can the bears on the dollar confirm a 4-hour downtrend next bounce? Do we hold daily EMA 12 and just see continuation? Or is it time for the first weekly consolidation that we've seen? I mean, we haven't seen any meaningful weekly consolidation in 2 months and 3 weeks. And so I'm watching for it to potentially shape up. But I need to see a 4-hour downtrend confirmed next. And the relationship between Bitcoin and the dollar, we know bigger picture, there's definitely a relationship in the sense that every time the dollar has bounced this year, it's been the periods where Bitcoin sees weekly consolidation. So again, I've already done this, but if you look back, February and May, what was Bitcoin doing in February and May? Here's February and here's May. And it's, again, it's not tick for tick. It's not day for day. It's bigger picture view. And so the dollar has been bouncing for, what did I just say? 11 weeks. How many weeks has Bitcoin been pulling back? It bottomed before the dollar topped the last 3 weeks, but clearly pulling back while the dollar was bouncing. So we're in a point where we can say the Bitcoin bulls have done a good job of ignoring the dollar strength the last 3 weeks, and Bitcoin bulls will benefit from dollar weekly consolidation. Weekly consolidation of the dollar can't hurt Bitcoin. It can only help. And so that's something to be keeping an eye out for from here. If I'm a Bitcoin bull, I really want to see the dollar top out. All right, keep an eye on those tightening ranges. Let's see if the weaker names join in on the bull fun. And we'll take it one day at a time as always. And really, the next 24 hours, the information that I'm looking for is, does Bitcoin break 27.5, or are we just going to tighten up over the weekend and have to wait till the first week of October to try and get a break? All right. Appreciate you all. Thanks as always. We'll continue to keep an eye on everything. And don't forget to do good things. Have a great rest of your day.